Hey yo, what up? This is Beleaf from the Dream Junkies. You are watching Mwendo Radio Backstage. Pay attention.
Everybody lends an ear. I wanna thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Mwendo Radio Show.
Beleaf Mel, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? Good to see you again, bro.
Likewise, man. How you been, man?
I've been really good, man. This is like the best period of my life.
Well, I'm saying, you know, you had the first child. I hear you got another one on the way.
Another one on the way. He's due any moment. Like I'm
really?
Yeah. I need to be back home, like right
Really?
now. Yes.
So like it can happen. Like the wife can give you the text right now.
Exactly. You know what? I'm only in town for 12 hours, so that I can actually be back just in case something happens. Yeah. So
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good, man. It's good. So we finally getting a Beleaf album.
Yo.
Solo album.
Word. Yes. Yeah, man.
Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. What you want to know about it?
Well, we gotta start with the concept, man.
Yeah. So the concept is it's red pills and black sugar, and basically it kind of tells the story of a man who walks through his life, and he kind of has this horrible experience, and he finds out that he's gonna off himself. Well, actually, he's gonna die soon. So he has to take these red pills in order to survive. And I don't want to give the concept too far away, but I don't want to give too much to you, because I really want you to hear the joint and be expecting like something, you know. But basically, it's that's where the red pills come from. So I don't want people to think I'm trying to, you know, push pills on people. You know what I'm saying? So you figure out that you know, we all have to rely on something. You know what I'm saying? In order to survive. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the red pills come from. And black sugar is just me. I'm black sugar. That's just another name for myself. And honestly, we all come from destruction. We all come from this dark place. But at some point, we get our lives changed and we turn into these sweet individuals. So that's where black sugar comes from.
Sure. So, I mean, now being in a space, because you were a member of the Breaks for a long time.
Yeah.
And now kind of being in a space where you can really do what it is you want to do on these records, man.
Right.
What is that like for you, man? It
feels, and I'm gonna say this not because I was like not free before, but I feel very free in my artistic ability, and honestly, I'm just really excited to let people hear what I have coming out. You know, I dropped a joint last year called Theo's Gift, and that was received pretty well. But now, I kind of want to push the envelope. I'm definitely going a little bit risque with some of the concepts I'm talking about. So I'm just warning y'all now. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be different.
Risque in what way?
We talk about. I mean, I'm sure people hear my lines. You know what I'm saying? Like when I talk and I rap about whatever. Like I don't necessarily say, well, oh, this isn't Christian enough. Like I'm pretty much gonna say whatever I want to say, and I won't use the words that, you know, hurt people's feelings. But I'm just gonna say whatever I want to say. So I have a song on the album. It's called Suicide Roll. And I literally walk through the process of taking a life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you thought about this before in your own life?
Yeah. I was very suicidal for most of my life. I grew up in an abused home. I was abused mentally and physically. And when you're abused and you grew up as you know, you don't really have anybody who is on your team. So you basically feel like you're a failure. And all you want to do is take the problem away. So I was the problem, you know. So that's something that has always come back into my life before I've gotten, you know, before I received Jesus, and he's changed my heart and showed me how much I'm worth. And I still don't know how much I'm worth, but he showed me at least that I have some value. But when you grow up in a household that is constantly reminding you of how good you aren't, it definitely, you know, messes with your mind, and you contemplate suicide often. So that was.
So this abuse was this was from your parents?
From one parent.
One parent, right? And what's that relationship like today?
It's hard. It's really hard. We don't speak. I reached out before, and as a man, it's kind of like, you know, I have to protect my family. You know what I mean? Because what's gonna happen is people will try to be toxic. People will try to come into your life and just be in your life, and then when they have their opportunity, they can change things, you know what I mean, drastically for you. So it's more of a trust thing right now, and I'm allowing some growth to happen before I, you know, try to reach out again. It's been really hard. it's been really hard. Something I've really been having a hard time dealing with, because, you know, no one's supposed to feel that way towards their parent, you know what I mean? And even with letting the things go, you still never forget all the things that happened. And then it's like, okay, if I do forget, or if I let it go and then I allow you around my children, now I have children, are you going to do those same things to them? You know what I mean? So it's very hard. It's hard, you know. As a forgiveness thing, I feel like I've forgiven the acts, but at the same time, I don't trust, you know, the individual. So it's just a difficult season. I mean, for that relationship.
So you didn't grow up going to church?
No. I probably went to church like 4 times.
Throughout your whole childhood?
Yeah, throughout my whole childhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at what point did you get introduced to Jesus?
I think it was like, you know, a lot of relationships around me. My grandmother is like, you know, really, really close with the Lord. She was always praying for me. My grandfather, they're from Trinidad, but they always were praying for me and telling me about Jesus, and I was just kind of like, cool. But it didn't happen until I was actually, and I don't know if I was going to kill myself, because when you're going to kill yourself, you just do it. You don't say, hey, let me call someone and say goodbye. You know what I mean? Like, you do it. Maybe some people do that, but I don't know where I was at in my head. But my dad, I was like on my way to, like, you know, do the act in which I was going to off myself. And I called my dad and I just told him bye, you know. And then he said, you know, he pleaded with me and he was like, you know, if you come out to California, like, I'll give you whatever you need in order to survive, and you can just start over, you know, and that's really what I needed. So once I got out to Cali, I had this experience where it was like, you know, it was like right after Hurricane Katrina, I saw all these people dying. I went down to Tijuana and I was like, yo, it's definitely a Satan. Like, Satan is real, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be something to, you know, counteract Satan. So a friend of mine would take me to church every weekend, and that's why I met Ruslan at church. And that relationship at the movement in San Marcos, yeah. So that's why I met Ruslan, and I don't, you know, we introduced, you know, we got to know each other, whatever, and then we started hanging out. And this dude would pick me up every night and take me to Denny's until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we just hang out. And it wasn't really nothing like, yo, let me show you the scripture. They just hung around me and they didn't curse, and I was just like, cool, you know. And it was like, I found out that Christians weren't, you know, everybody who I've seen on TV or they can act, they're actually real people, you know. So during that time, I was still going to church, and I would go there really just because it was girls there, you know what I mean? Because I was out and I didn't really have nothing else to do, you know what I mean? I was just like, well, there's people here, so I'm gonna go here. And I think the pastor was like, yo, if you need anything from God, come up here and get on your knees, and I'll pray for you, you know what I mean? And just give it a shot, you know, give God a shot. And my whole logic was like, yo, well, I'll give it everything else a shot but God, so I'll just get on one knee. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, I really
both, just one.
Yeah, just one knee. I got faith in this one knee right here, this kneecap. So I got on one knee. He prayed, and at the time, I really needed a job. So I prayed, you know, for a job, and then I applied for a job, and it turns out that the guy who the assistant manager there went to my high school back in Baltimore. It's like mad random. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, man, this is crazy, you know. So after that, I was kind of like, okay, Lord, I'm rocking with you. You know, I'll see what else you do. And that's where my relationship kind of started, I feel, with the Lord.
That's good. All right. So Baltimore was rough for you.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, Baltimore is like it's so beautiful in the I don't know, it's like a love-hate relationship, you know what I'm saying? Because it teaches you so much about how you are to survive, but at the same time, it taints your perception of people. Like, I didn't trust anybody. I was like very, like, you know, all my thoughts were very racially, you know, projected onto people. Like, you know, I didn't like other races, you know what I mean? I was very like, and I don't know if it's Baltimore's fault, but I'm just saying, like, my experience there was it was a very dark place.
How real was The Wire?
The Wire is very real. I didn't live in that area, you know what I'm saying? The Wire is very, very real. I feel like, I don't know if it was like, you know, as often, but definitely it's, you know, it's like that, you know.
So John Givez is your brother-in-law.
Yes.
And did you meet his sister at the church?
No.
Okay.
I was DJing at Point Loma Nazarene, and that's where my wife Yvette, she went to school there, and I was DJing there for like all their BSU events and their poetry events, and she would always be the one helping me take my gear to my car. You know what I mean? We weren't even feeling each other. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, thanks. And I'd go off to like go see another girl or something like that and hang out, go on a date or something.
Yeah.
So then she after a while, I think like her brother-in-law or her godbrother needed a DJ for his wedding, and she hit me up. And then that's when I started hanging out with her. And then it was like a very logical decision to pursue each other. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like all the stars were aligned or like I came up on a horse. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, hey, you look like you would be an awesome wife. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's the same thing with me, and we were just dedicated. You know, so and ever since then it's been great. You know? And her family's just embraced me with these huge arms. It's like a whole community of people, and they just love me. You know, and I've just been very fortunate to meet her and her family, and even grow my relationship with John. And John is a very special individual. You know what I'm saying? He's very talented. His heart for the hood is crazy, and he's just so I don't know. He's just so good for the culture, I feel.
He said you were just instrumental in his kind of transitioning into being a believer. I mean, he was raving about you, bro. Just talk about that process, maybe from your vantage point a bit.
Well, I think for me, we all have different hearts. You know what I'm saying? So Ruslan has a heart to disciple people one-on-one, and I am proof of that. You know what I'm saying? John has a heart for the hood. I have a heart to see people walking in what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And with John, it was like, yo, if you need something, I got you. If you need a place to record, I got you. Because he was making real ratchet music.
So he said
it was bad.
Yeah, he said it was.
It was like, yo, like late night music. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is nasty, bro.
Baby making
stuff.
Huh?
Yeah, like real baby making. Like, yeah. So he was making that music, and he always needed a place to record or whatever he needed. I just had him, and I loved him, bro. Like I saw myself in him. And for that, it was just kind of like, whatever this kid needs, I'm going to do whatever I can for him. And it helped that he, is my wife's brother. But at the same time, it's kind of like, he wanted to receive it as well, because he has a very close relationship with a lot of people who's still in the hood, So it was hard for him to balance that thing, because he would walk on one side and walk on the other side, and then hang out with us, and it's kind of like everything's cool, but then he'd go back and hang out with the cats. So it was a lot, it was a lot of walking out, but just being there. Anything he needed, we was just there, And I don't, he could tell you more about that. For me, it was just like, I love this man, I'm gonna take care of him, however I can.
It's interesting. So Ruslan discipled you, and John will tell you, he told me that you basically discipled him.
I would say it was both myself and Ruslan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just there for him. We get into the word. You know what I'm saying? We have Bible studies. We do whatever we needed to do. Whatever he wanted to do. Whenever he had a question, I try to answer it to the best of my ability. My time is a little bit limited because of certain obligations I have. But Ruslan is very integral in life. The small things. Like he'll look out for you in different ways you weren't expecting. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a community. It's not just me. You know what I'm saying? He could tell you that, and I probably had a large portion of it, but it's definitely a community of people that love to do. You know what I mean? And it's a community of people that love us in order to get us to where we need to be. So I wouldn't say it was just me, but that's my dude. His family.
Yeah. So Ruslan said pretty much it's a wrap for the breaks, man.
Heck yeah.
True or false?
True statement.
True statement.
Yeah.
You said that definitively too.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like the breaks were it was a great thing, but it was hard for our relationship, mine and Ruslan's. You know what I mean? Because like first I was with the breaks before I got married. So once I got married, my wife's whole thing was like, well, am I more important than what you're doing? Because I be out, you know what I'm saying? Like I have a show, hey, I see that, this is before we were married, but I just dip off, you know what I mean? And she wanted me to prove to her which was, you know, kind of weird for me. I'm like, I ain't got to prove to you, I married you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I put a ring on it.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm trusting you with my life and my future. So yes, you have to prove it to me. You know what I mean? So I had to, you know, just, it was hard. You know, like I would have, like we would be going somewhere and I had to call my wife. Hey babe, I gotta do this. And I call Ruslan. Hey yo, I gotta do this. Like they were on the same level. You know what I'm saying? And I knew it was something wrong about that. So once my wife got pregnant, or I impregnated her. Yeah, me. Once that happened, I realized that, okay, I don't have a solo project out. The breaks are cool, but I'm not trying to sit under this yoke for so long. You know what I'm saying? Because I really can't do the things I want to do. You know what I mean? So I was just like, you know what? I don't think this is a good idea. You know, we had just put out Never Arrive. It was, you know, we were in a pretty good position to do a better follow-up record. But you know, because of some things, I was just like, man, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea that we have another group project right now, and I'm not feeling it. It's, you know, it took 4 years to make Never Arrive. You know what I mean? And we were trying to make the next record in like 6 months. I was like, no way. I was like, no way I'm gonna be put under that type of stress. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not doing it. So, you know, we kind of went our separate ways for a while. There was a lot of arguing, and a lot of like, well,
I remember that time.
Yeah, it was kind of like, well, you want to do this, and I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? My whole thing was like, I don't care, dog. You know, whatever you want to do, I don't care about it. But you know, we had a lot of counsel, and we were in a good position, you know. And I was just like, you know, I really want to do my own solo thing, and I think that's cool. And I got a chance to make Theo's gift and see the strenuous time it takes, you know what I mean, and realizing I can't do it without a team. When Ruslan was realizing who I was becoming as a man, you know what I'm saying, and that I don't need nobody telling me where I need to be, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm a grown man, like, you know what I'm saying, plus I'm about to have a kid, you know what I mean, like, I can't be like, hey man, do this, and then, you know, running up under somebody else. It was hard, man, because I was kind of like losing my identity, I felt like. You know, my identity was becoming the breaks. You know, with the Dream Junkies, it's so much different because it's just kind of like, we all come together, and it's a mutual thing. Well, I don't want to do that, so I don't like it. You do it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's cool like that. Before it was kind of like, yo, we have to do it. Work through it. Like, nah, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's kind of like we just all, it's way more peaceful. You know, it's harmony, it feels like. You know, we're all trying our best to make the best music we can. I feel like we're bringing it lyrically. We all have different hearts for different people. You know, I want to inspire the broken, John wants to reach the hood, and Ruslan wants to do for one. You know, it's, you know, disciple one individual. You know what I mean? And I think we're in a really good spot. You know,
it's interesting because like I almost feel like one of the things Ruslan said was, you guys are getting an even better response musically. Like when people are coming to shows now, they already got the merch on. They already know the words.
It's weird.
So it's almost like confirmation that this is probably the best route. At least from that perspective, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't fight against the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, the breaks were dope. I feel like the breaks were dope. You know, we put out some great music. And I remember even being, last time I was here, we did Yap Yap. We did the video. You know what I'm saying? And that was like...
Was that the last time you was here?
That's the last time I think I was here.
Wow, okay.
But I was like, man, like, this is great. You know what I mean? That was in 2011.
That was the video we both had the same coat on.
Yeah, from Old Navy. From Old Navy. I was hot about that, too. I was like, man, I got my coat.
My wife got me that joint, dog.
Yeah. That was a rough video. But it was cool, though. Like, the music was great, but I don't think people were latching on to it because they didn't know what it was, and we didn't know what it was. Like, we were asking people like, yo, so what do we do? Like, what do we, why do we exist? We make dope hip hop, and what we were doing was like, yo, we ain't about the commercial, this and this and this and this and this. But it wasn't really beneficial. You know what I'm saying? It was good, but it wasn't beneficial.
When people walk away from your new album, what do you want them to walk away with?
When they walk away from my first album, right? Because it's my first one. I want them to understand that people can be dealing with anything. You know, you never know who's dealing with depression or suicide, or who's dealing with being abused. You know, abuse is such a huge topic, man, and that's like something that resonates with me, because like I don't feel like when you're abused, you don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, you're stuck. So I just want people to realize that other people are dealing with so much stuff, and you honestly have to have grace. You know what I mean? Like, I just want people to understand grace. Like, you never know what that person could be dealing with, so just extend them grace, you know, instead of just wilding out on them, or, you know, trying to hold them accountable to a standard they don't even know. You know what I mean? Or telling them to follow certain scriptures that they don't even understand. You know what I mean? Like, love is so important. So I just want people to know grace.
Do you think this because it sounds like with the heavy topics, this could be a dark record?
Yeah.
It is a dark record.
Well, I mean, I'm a very dark individual. You know what I'm saying? I realize it. Like,
you got all black on.
I got all black on right now. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want people to trust me. Like, I don't feel like I feel like by all the stuff we put out before, like, you should at least trust me that I'm not going to put out some trash. You know what I mean? It's going to be weighty, but it's not going to be dark. You know what I mean? Like, so the concepts are going to be like, dang, man, like, this sounds like, you know, such and such. Like, I want to do something horrible. Like, nah, it's like, wow, I didn't even think about it like that. You know, that's more of the concept. And then it switches. So this horrible thing, you know what I mean? This guy has this rough period of his life. It's just a season. And, you know, it's just a season in his life that's rough. And then his life changes. And then things get brighter. So it definitely is more upbeat, inspiring songs, you know. But it does start out to where, like, I started out. Like, we all start out in a dark place. You know what I mean? And it's important for us not to forget that place, because we go back to that place if we don't know, if we forget it, you know? So, I think it's okay. I think it's okay for people to be like, oh, well, I don't know if it's going to be dark. The singles I'm putting out, you know, are going to invite people in. But I just want you guys to hear something. You know, I want people to be inspired to be creative. Like, I don't feel like we're very creative. We may be creative with sounds and, you know, different, but I don't feel like we're creative with, like, concepts. You know what I mean? I get bored, like, listening to records. What am I listening to this for? Why are we here? You know? That's just me. And that's a frustration for me, because I'm a very artistic person, and I'm kind of like, well, why? You know, what are you trying to convey to me by putting this here? Well, it looks dope. Well, so? You know what I mean? I get frustrated with stuff like that.
So you really want to stimulate people's minds?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, shouldn't we? You know, with movies, we do the same thing, you know. With music, it's just kind of very ambiguous. You know, I feel like it's very open. And I'm gonna make my album called this, but it's not gonna have anything to do with this. You know what I'm saying? And that frustrates me. You know, it does. But we end up making the same album over and over and over again, just different music. And that's cool if that's your aim. But I feel like it's not a lot of people sticking to one topic.
If you could only do one of these two, which one would you choose? Spoken word, hip hop.
Hip hop.
Easy.
Easy.
It's not even a question.
No, not even a question, because I started out as a DJ.
Yeah.
I like to watch people react to music. I feel like when you're coming home from work and you're just getting off of work and it's a Friday and you throwing whatever playlist you got going on, that is the soundtrack to your freaking liberation. You know what I'm saying? Like, music makes you feel good. It can make you feel good, you know? It evokes so much emotion, so I'd like to see if I can make someone cry, smile, and dance all in the same record. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like music can go deeper than that. And I feel like poetry can, not always are, most poets aren't, but some poets are only giving the problem and not presenting solutions. So they're very good at standing up on a soapbox and on a stage and saying, this is the problem. But what else? What are you going to do now? You know what I'm saying? And the money's better with music, so you can end up helping more people.
It's good. It's good. How did you get into spoken word? I noticed you earlier saying that you were DJing. Was that kind of when you kind of got into that, or were you into it even before that?
Well, I was the kid in the bedroom, like, watching, you know, Def Poetry Jam, like, like, everything was like that. You know what I'm saying? So I always was attracted to it. However, I got into it. I started doing it when I got out to Cali. I think the first BreaX record was when we started doing poetry. Bruce Lana and I, we were hanging out with a guy named Ant Black, who's a big poet down in, well, yeah, now he's a professor. And Rudy Francisco, who's a huge poet. And we were hanging out with them, and they were really good. We were like, oh man, this inspires us to be dope. You know? So, in case you don't know, I gotta say that. But yeah, so we were doing it, and it was kind of cool. I know that poetry can take you further. You know, it can take you a lot further because you can speak at different, you know, organizations where they're not trying to hit on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? You know, up in some churches, you know, but poetry they'll invite you. So I want to do both, but I definitely enjoy music way more. Yeah, definitely.
We get some spoken word on your solo record.
Yeah, you'll get a one spoken word, like a half of one.
Half of one.
Yeah, man.
I got you.
And it's got music behind it.
Okay. It's good. It's good.
You missed the spoken word, Mwendo?
I do, man.
Yeah, man. You look a little hurt right now.
I'm a little bit. I really, you guys, if I'm just honest with you, in the Christian space, were kind of some of the first cats that I saw that really merged the two. You know, now I know Propaganda might have been doing it before you guys, but I wasn't as into his music at that point. You know, when he was doing some of that stuff. But yeah, man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try to.
I missed it a little bit, man. I missed it a little bit.
Okay.
I missed a little bit.
See, I'd like to know how many other people miss it.
Yeah.
Because then I would give the people what they want. If they want more spoken word, then I would make more spoken word.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. Well, brother, I'm excited you're putting this project out, man.
Amen.
I really am, man. You know, I've been pushing for you to do a solo record.
Yeah.
Well, you may not know that, but
I'm sure you have a lot of people behind the scenes. Why doesn't Beleaf do this? Why doesn't Beleaf do that? Like, you know, I'm very insecure. You know, I'm very insecure because I'm kind of like, well, people are gonna receive this. And now it's kind of like, you know what? I just want to rock for the people who rock for me. If it's only 10 of y'all, then it's only 10 of y'all, and y'all my 10. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I feel like there's a lot worse out there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm understanding, and I'm getting more brave and like, well, let me just go ahead and just try to do something different. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll go back, you know, and do something else.